Hello and welcome back to Elevation 44. I'm Beverly or B, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. Always happy to have you back. Today we are diving into our Scorpio season goals and activities, okay? Because we are moving and grooving and we are really going through fall already, right? So let's get into our Scorpio season goals today and talk about some of the ways that you can use Scorpio's energy to help support you in your growth and the changes that you want to make in your life. And all that good stuff, okay? Because Scorpio energy is very different from the Libra energy that we're transitioning out of. Yes, there's some themes that are going to weave through because that's how these zodiac signs work. That's how these energies work. You know, there's a little bit that flows into each one. But ultimately, Scorpio and Libra can feel like a night and day in terms of like how the energy, just feels to us. So what we're going to get into today is for some of those differences and again how we can use that best to our advantage to grow, to elevate, because we are elevating together, and that's what these videos are all about. These are videos for those of you who are serious about making changes and doing that in incremental steps and actually pushing yourself out of your comfort zone so that you can attract and do all the things that you wish in this lifetime. So I'm not going to talk anymore about it. Let's just go on ahead and dive right in. And if you are enjoying this, please go ahead and rate or leave a comment just to show your support and let me know that you're enjoying these things and you're finding them helpful, okay? So let's go right on in to Scorpio season. And Scorpio season typically falls between October 23rd and November 21st, okay? So Scorpio energy is really, really heavy on themes of transformation, intensity. It's a very, very intense energy. That's why I said it feels so different from Libra season. And passion and deep emotional connections. In Libra season, it was a little bit more light. It's a little bit more peaceful. Let's just all get along. In Scorpio, it's just like, bump that. Like, you're gonna feel all the intensity because, I don't have time for just massaging all the things. I want to really cut and get to the corner or the core, rather, of the matter. Like, I don't want to beat around the bush, right? And so that's what this energy, feels like. It just feels like, boom, like we got a bullseye and we're going deep. We're going to, hit our target, all right? So this is prime energy to focus on personal growth. It's great for emotional healing and embracing your inner power and going after those goals. Because let me tell you, nothing like Scorpio energy to really push you towards the things that you want, all right? So in terms of goal setting, in terms of activities and the things that we should be capitalizing on this season, these are the areas of focus I would say let's go ahead and pay attention to and see how we can make some changes, okay? So the first thing that is really aligned with Scorpio season's energy is embracing transformation, okay? Now, those of you who are familiar with astrology, and maybe those of you who aren't so familiar with astrology, Scorpio is represented by three very, very different animals to kind of show the transformation even within Scorpio's energy within itself. So with Scorpio, you have the representation of the scorpion, and I think that's what a lot of people are familiar with, the scorpion imagery. And the scorpion is, I think, more representative of the shadow aspects of Scorpio's energy, which can be like that sting back, like this, just like, listen, a little bit more of that fear-based thinking in terms of like the intensity gone wrong, right? Where it becomes like deception or obsession or control. A lot of those shadow aspects of Pluto's energy, which rules over Scorpio, is representing in the scorpion. And then you have the middle phase, right? Which is the eagle. I don't know how many of you have seen this eagle as imagery to represent Scorpio's energy, but it also represents like that middle transitionary period as Scorpio grows or transforms and is evolving into new phases and new stages. So you have the eagle's energy, and then at the highest peak, you have the phoenix that represents Scorpio. And that is full blown transformation where you have learned to control the energy. You're using it to your advantage for that death and rebirth process, but that is a continuous leveling up. So there's a lot of, even in the symbolism of what we use to represent Scorpio's energy, that transformation theme is always going to be one of the biggest things you're going to hear. So embracing transformation is super, super important under this energy. This is also a dense time of the year energy wise, and it can feel like a lot in terms of just like, we're around specific holidays and alignments and different traditions where the energy is a little bit more dense, where, the veil between the material world, the physical world, and the spiritual world is thinner. So transformation and this energy being dense is going to be felt heavily, okay? So in the theme or in the spirit of embracing transformation, what are some of the things we can do under here? Letting go of the past, okay? So listen, this is all about diving into kind of the shadow aspects of ourselves, that in terms of the stories, the narratives that we've affixed to, whether that be narratives that were started in childhood, you found somewhere along the way in your adult journey, those narratives, what are the stories that you are affixed to that you need to let go because they're not serving you anymore? They're keeping you held and stuck and just limited in a lot of ways in terms of your growth and your transformation journey. So setting a goal to let go or release the past or anything that no longer serves you is prime in embracing transformation. So, old habits, like I said, old narratives and stories that no longer fit where you're going or where you need to go, right? Toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, all of these things are under review, and you really have to sit and really be truthful with yourself and allow yourself to go to those depths. And I know a lot of the times we are as a society, I'm not saying as individuals, but as a society, we're afraid to spend that time with ourselves to go deeper. But it is required, and it is what is most celebrated with Scorpio's energy. So we have to get deeper. All right. So use, whatever methods you need to get to the depths. One practice that I like to use and I think is very, very effective in getting to kind of like peeling back the layers of yourself. Yes, you can go into meditation and just sit with yourself quietly and do some deep thinking and breathing and just allow your mind to wander. I would say to stay away from the guided meditation tracks if you're going to do that route. Or what I like and find very, very helpful in addition to that is journaling, right? Just pulling out a good old pen and paper and just being able to write through. And sometimes, if you can get into a space of automatic writing, where you don't even let your pen leave the paper and you just have that stream of consciousness, right? And don't even think about what you're writing. Just do it, right? Just do. That is also a great way to go back and read. Sometimes you don't even know what you wrote. You go back and you read it and you're like, wow, like I didn't even know that this was what was going on within me, and this is what I was truly feeling. But giving yourself the time and space to explore those things and go deeper, and being real with yourself and honest in your own shadow aspects and attributes and things that that you're doing that is sabotaging, the things that you actually want to transform or move beyond. You have to be honest with yourself and go there, okay? So personal growth, focusing on those areas that you want to transform and improve, setting some specific goals once you are identifying certain things that need to change, ways that you need to release things and grow. So setting those goals around some self-improvement things, whether that's breaking a bad habit, adopting a new positive behavior, these are little things that you're going to think through, but it's going to be fundamental to start with being honest with yourself and getting it out and actually seeing and identifying what it is first, okay? Then you can make a little plan to try to move beyond it, whether, it's like, okay, maybe I only give myself 5 seconds to think this thought before I replace it with something else. Or whenever I feel myself going into this mindset, I switch gears by distracting myself with something positive, right? Or whatever that looks like for you. You have to figure out how it fits into your life best, but these are just some ideas for you, okay? So goal number 1 for the transformation phase of Scorpio season, we're going to identify one area of our life that needs transformation, and we're going to take actionable steps towards it. And these don't have to be big leaps, okay? We're talking about just like the small changes. It always starts with the small incremental changes, so focus on that. All right, so let's get into the second area of focus for Scorpio season. In this goal setting video, we're going to talk about deepening our emotional connections. Now, Libra season, we talked about relationships a lot, because that's what Libra is known for. It's relationships energy, that focus on the other. It really shifts that focus to outside of self to see how we are relating to those around us, okay? Now, Scorpio season asks us to take that work and go a level deeper, okay? And it's about going into the deep emotional connection part of that, okay? So the intensity, that depth in relationships is required. Yes, we do have different types of relationships. We have the surface relationships, and then we have those real relationships, right? That, again, depth is needed there. So assessing your intimate relationships and really thinking about what does your connection look like with your partner, with your super, super close friends. I'm not talking about the ones who float on the outside that you don't care less if they're coming or going, right? Or you see them every now and then. I'm talking about the folks that are really, 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 really close to you. So what are those connections look like? Are they lacking depth in any way, shape, or form? So do you need to go a little bit deeper? Do you need to be a little bit more vulnerable, right? And vulnerability is the huge key in being able to deepen any type of connection that you have. You have to practice being open and vulnerable. And I know in life, for a lot of us, myself included, being vulnerable has been something that's really hard in certain ways, because you are taught through experiences and different things that happen to just close off, to protect yourself. It's the ego's way of protecting you so that no further harm can come to you. And what that does is yes, there is protection that is required to a certain level. But what ends up happening is that we hold on to these things too much, and the ego closes us off too much and protects us too much, to the point where we are now suffering or limiting ourselves in the way that we can connect with others and how we can deepen those connections and bonds and the support that we can have, because we're so afraid of the other side of being hurt. But know this, life is all about dualities, right? It's all about polarity. So in order to experience great happiness and joy, you also have to know what pain feels like. You also have to know what sadness feels like. It is literally the opposite emotion of the joy and the happiness. So you have to be able to understand and feel both in order to appreciate both. So don't allow experiences in life to keep you stuck in a place of protection or protecting yourself, right? Open up to people. It's fine. It's fine. And if you get hurt, know and trust yourself that you know how to get through it and that you will survive, just like you've survived everything else. So to build trust and intimacy, we have to open up and get vulnerable. We also talked about resolving emotional conflicts or resolving conflicts in relationships, but the Scorpio season is really asking us to take the work that we started in Libra season and go deeper into the emotional aspect, not just those surface conflicts, right, that we talked about in Libra season, but really go deeper into understanding the inner workings of why these conflicts continue to happen. A lot of the time, again, it falls right back into that vulnerability piece and people protecting themselves, putting up boundaries, So work on resolving any lingering emotional conflicts, like get to the core part of what is really driving this and these emotions and these feelings behind certain things, and really getting to the nitty gritty. And sometimes you're going to have to bring in outside support in that journey, right? So consider therapy, consider counseling, if you need to navigate those complex emotions or relationship issues with someone else. So you need those tools or support that you may not have within your own toolbox. So don't be shy or shamed into, reaching out for that type of support. So the second goal we're going to set for Scorpio season is we're going to set a goal to strengthen at least one emotional connection in our life. And we're going to do that through practicing our vulnerability and open communication. So we're just going to learn how to get a little bit more vulnerable within ourselves. So that's the goal that we are going to set there. The third area for Scorpio season focus or energy, or how we want to push forward, is exploring our passions, okay? Because Scorpio is a passionate energy. It's a water energy. Like I said, it's deep, it's intense. It wants to cut past all the crap and get down to the real. And it's very passionate about what it chooses to engage its energy in. So it's time to really dive deep into what excites you, what drives you. People with a lot of Scorpio energy are driven. They're driven. They want to achieve their goals. They want to get the things done. So now is the time to identify your passions if you haven't. If you have, it's time to go in a level deeper into those passions. So just reflecting on what you're passionate about and setting, intentions to pursue that, more deeply, and also to pursue it like unapologetically. You want to dedicate or spend, time looking at your calendar and really blocking off the times that you can dedicate time to your hobbies, that you can fully engage in these activities, whether it's for 30 minutes, whether it's for an hour, whether it's for a day during the week. Really looking at that and really working that in and making space for the things that bring you joy and that bring you happiness and that light you on fire, okay? And investing in your own personal projects, right? So Scorpio's focus on intensity means that it's a great time for you to just channel that energy into focus and commitment on the things that truly matter to you. So what are some areas that you've been thinking about, like launching a personal project for yourself, and whether that is a personal development plan, whether that is, a health and wellness plan, whether that is, something, investing or making money or business or, your own personal aesthetic or look or whatever that may be. Whatever it is, like, this is time to have deep focus and commitment and really put yourself and dedicate yourself to what you're trying to do. So the third goal we're going to set for Scorpio season is to choose either a passion project or a hobby or something like that, and really dive in, make space for it, and make some progress during Scorpio season towards whatever that is, okay? Now, the fourth area that we are getting into for Scorpio season is focusing on our inner strength, because a lot of Scorpio's energy comes from within. It's not that external intensity, it's that internal intensity, okay, that then radiates outwards, all right? Sometimes so much so that it can be overwhelming, but we're gonna channel it positively, okay? So Scorpio is very resilient, and it really is, like I said, powerful energy, because it is that Pluto energy that comes in for Scorpio and Mars, right? It's Mars and Pluto combined, and we know those two planets are energies that aren't to be messed with, okay? But if you channel them in the right direction, they really boost you tremendously, okay? So this is a great time to build up your own inner strength reserves, and to also tame them if you need to, right? So how do we do that? Meditation and mindfulness, okay? And we talked about this. We've been talking about this, prior in Virgo season and some other seasons as well, but Meditation and mindfulness is the theme that's going to continuously come up because that is a staple in life, okay? So incorporate some practices that can help you build and tame and control your inner power, okay? Meditation is a great tool for that. Another area for working on your inner strength is a little bit different. It's more so on your physical fitness or your physical strength aspect. What goals, what things, do you need to set, or challenges that you want to focus on in terms of your physical strength and building that, right? Because it all works together, all of our bodies, the emotional body, the physical body, the mental body, right? We want them to all be strong and working in harmony. So looking at our physical strength and building up our strength in that way, our inner strength in that way, is also beneficial. Also looking at our emotional resilience, developing some resilience through practicing like self-compassion, understanding your emotional triggers, understanding where you are really leaning heavily on for emotional support in certain ways, and really just understanding a little bit more of yourself on a deeper level so that you understand how to build up your own inner powers and reserves, so you're not relying so much on outside influences to help you get through things, or on the flip side, using outside influences to continuously keep you triggered and stuck in certain patterns. So the fourth goal we're going to set is a goal. We're going to set a goal on building our inner strength. So whether that's an emotional strength, a mental strength, a physical strength, pick one of those areas and really focus on, building your strength or dedicating your time to really understanding how to build your inner reserves, okay? And let's wrap this video up with our last area, which is embracing mystery and the unknown, because a lot of the energy that Scorpio brings is very mysterious, and sometimes there's a lot of beauty that can be in mystery, and we don't always need to put logic to something. We don't always need to know. It doesn't always have to follow a certain order. Sometimes it just is what it is. And I think that's the spiritual component of Scorpio's energy, okay? So while Scorpio season can be very good for pushing some of the practical matters forward, right? Let's embrace the things that aren't as practical. They're impractical. They can't be named. They can't be touched. All right. So this is a great time to dive into your spiritual practices. All right. So, and the taboo stuff, right? The things that people are like, so dive into your tarot, dive into your astrology, dive into divination, dive into anything that you feel like is calling you, that is asking you to, explore or get deeper in practice with if you're already introduced to it. These things can be wonderful tools, and also, they can just be fun to explore. Like, you don't even necessarily have to be using them as a constant tool in your life. You just may have some interest and want to understand how they work. That's totally okay. So don't feel any kind of way about diving into those things, especially of those of us who have come from more traditional, religious backgrounds where that may have been discouraged. There is no shame in exploring what your spirit is calling you to open up to, okay? Shadow work. So we talked about shadow work a little bit in the beginning of the video, but shadow work is a very, very huge key in our transformation journey. Also in just understanding who we are and embracing the mystery within ourselves. Sometimes we are just the way we are, and we need to just get comfortable with embracing those shadow aspects of ourselves. Yes, we are working to improve and understand. When we understand why we move or operate the way we do, we can make changes, we can improve and grow, but then also just embracing that side of us as well and saying there's no shame in my shadow, right? There's no shame. Let me embrace my shadow. Let me integrate my shadow. Let me show my shadow a better way to operate. And so that takes time in terms of understanding yourself, right? So What are the darker aspects of your personality? What makes you tick? How do you respond to certain things? These are all important things to know. And then what's driving that underneath it, okay? So this is a time to sit with your shadow, do some shadow work. There are awesome resources on how to, really get into shadow work. A lot of it is journaling prompts. A lot of it is really going deeper. But these are great ways for you to use Scorpio's energy to your advantage. And then the last thing about, just kind of exploring mysteries is topics too that you may be interested in. And I said a lot of times those topics can be like psychology, different metaphysical things, esoteric knowledge. Read, study, just really immerse yourself in those things, because sometimes we can just be caught up in the day-to-day and, like I said, the practical aspects of life. But this is a very, very real part of our reality as well, right? We have two sides, like the side that we can't see, that's kind of the invisible, the spiritual world. It's very much present, even though we're not paying attention to it most of the time. And then we have the physical world, and we can get caught up in the physical senses because this is what we actually are seeing. We're smelling, we're feeling, we're touching, right? We're able to, put these things together in our senses every day, so they feel more real, they feel more present, they feel more urgent. But don't forget that this spiritual world exists in tangent with the physical world. So it's so much more expansive, and we need to, spend time just getting comfortable and diving into that and recognizing that and keeping that a part of the picture as well, so we are well rounded. So the fifth goal that we're going to set this season is a goal. We're going to set a goal to embrace a spiritual practice, to deepen the understanding of yourself, and just the universe, right? So like I said, if you want to dive into a particular topic or subject to get more versed in it, if you want to dive into a particular practice like tarot or astrology, the world is yours. However that looks for you is totally fine, okay? So that is all I have for you today on this Scorpio season, goals and activities. Again, if you want to set goals in all these areas, beautiful. If you only want to focus on one area or just a few areas, that's totally okay too. Do what works best for you. So that is all that I have for you today on this Scorpio season goals and activities. I hope you find this information helpful. If you want to set goals in all the areas, awesome. If you only want to set goals in one area or specific areas, that's okay too. Do what works for you. This is for you. This is to help you elevate, right? So leave in the comments down below maybe what goals you were thinking about getting into. And until then, I will see you all in the next one. Have a great Scorpio season. Peace.